So I want you to imagine buying a $1 million world-class enterprise software system.
Oh, boy.
Right. And it runs flawlessly. It's perfect in New York, Tokyo, London. The executive team absolutely loves it.
Naturally.
But then the day you plug it in at a massive retail chain in Bangkok, it just completely craters. I mean, it fails spectacularly.
Yeah, we see this all the time.
And today's deep dive is exploring exactly why that happens. Because for you, the ultimate learner, understanding this failure is actually the key to a much bigger picture. We're looking at a stack of industry reports, technical white papers, and some really fascinating local market case studies to unpack this dilemma. We were going over the 10 essential criteria for selecting Thai loyalty platforms.
And it really boils down to this classic Silicon Valley hubris, right?
Yeah.
You assume that code is just culture agnostic.
That an app is just an app anywhere.
Exactly. But it's really not. I mean, the Thai loyalty market is arguably one of the most dynamic in all of Southeast Asia.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you look at the absolute titans of that market, so programs like Central Group's The1 or 7-Eleven's All Member, they didn't get this massive success by just forcing some global software template onto their customers.
Like that to adapt.
Yeah, they built their entire digital infrastructure around the reality of Thai consumer behavior. They didn't try to fight against it.
Which brings us to the first big point, which is where these consumers are actually spending their digital lives. I mean, if you're a Western marketer, your default operating system is, well, it's the email inbox.
Yeah, you built the whole CRM right around it.
Exactly. But the research drops this staggering statistic. In Thailand, the Line app has over 50 million users.
It's massive.
And the open rate for a Line official account, a Line OA, is sitting at like 80 to 90%.
Which is wild when you compare it to traditional email channels. Globally, email is hovering around this really dismal 10 to 15% open rate.
Yeah, so trying to run a loyalty program in Thailand via email is honestly like standing in an empty, muddy field and just shouting into the wind.
That's right. Totally pointless.
But putting that same program natively online is like setting up this brightly lit booth right in the middle of a bustling Bangkok night market. The people are already there. The foot traffic is massive, and they are primed to engage.
And the technical nuance of that engagement is really where the generic platforms just fall apart. Because a loyalty platform, it can't just rely on some clunky third-party workaround.
Like just pushing a basic text notification to Line as an afterthought?
Exactly. That doesn't work. It requires deep native Line OA integration. I mean, if the software doesn't let you send points notifications or issue special offers or crucially execute redemption flows entirely within that chat ecosystem, you lose the customer.
At the very first point of friction.
Right. They're just gone.
So let's look at how that native integration actually works under the hood. We're talking about something called the Line Front-End Framework, or LIF.
Right, LFF.
And from a UX perspective, this essentially turns the chat window into a secure mini browser. You aren't forcing the user to leave the app to check a web page, right?
Yeah.
The entire loyalty flow, so checking points, browsing a catalog of rewards, it all renders directly inside the chat environment.
And you couple that with rich menus, those graphical, tappable menus that are locked at the bottom of the screen and automated chatbots.
So the user never has to wait for a human to check their balance.
Exactly. Keeping them inside that ecosystem is paramount. Because the moment you force a Thai consumer to go to the App Store and, download your separate standalone loyalty app, the friction is just insurmountable.
Because of that fatigue, right?
Yeah. Engagement plummets to near zero. Consumers already have that fatigue. They want utility consolidated into the apps they already have open 12 hours a day anyway.
Right. But, okay, just being inside the Line app isn't quite enough to keep them there. And this is where it gets interesting. E-commerce giants like Shopee and Lazada have totally rewired Thai shoppers to expect constant entertainment.
Yeah, the gamification aspect.
Which means your loyalty program actually has to function kind of like a game. But I do have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Is gamification genuinely necessary for, say, a standard local coffee shop? Or are we just looking at a trendy tech gimmick here?
Yeah.
I mean, I just want my iced latte. Do I really need a side quest?
It sounds like overkill, I know. But the behavioral data indicates it is absolutely essential for driving repeat purchases, particularly in retail and food and beverage.
Wait, really? Essential?
Yeah, it's no longer just a novelty. It's a learned consumer expectation now. The back end needs to support visible tier progression so users know exactly how close they are to, like, VIP status.
Ah,
It requires daily check-ins, mission-based rewards, and streak mechanics all built directly into the database.
oh, streak mechanics.
Yeah.
Meaning the database logs a timestamp of your purchase, and if you buy a coffee 3 days in a row, a script just automatically unlocks a bonus multiplier.
Exactly. And that underlying logic is what creates the habit loop. The platform has to be sophisticated enough to track those arrays of interactions in real time, compute the reward logic, and then push that visual dopamine hit back to the user's line interface instantaneously.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've engaged them in their digital living room, they're online, they've checked in, hit their streak, and now they physically walk into the store to claim the reward.
Right, the moment of truth.
Yeah, this is where the technical architecture really gets tested, because that digital engagement has to survive the transition to the physical counter. If the in-store experience breaks down, all that loyalty vanishes instantly.
Oh, totally. The customer experience just crashes if the physical point of sale integration is cumbersome.
Right.
I mean, if the customer is standing at the register and the cashier has to manually type in some 12-digit member code, or if the customer is frantically switching between 3 different apps while a line of people just glares at them.
Which is the worst feeling.
Yeah, it is. The satisfaction of the reward is completely erased by the anxiety of the transaction.
Nobody wants to be the person holding up the line. So the platform must have ready-made, out-of-the-box API integrations with global POS systems, like Oracle MicroOS and Lightspeed.
Yeah, as well as the local systems that are really popular in Thai food and beverage.
But there's one detail in the technical requirements that really caught my eye. It lists offline mode capability as critical. And I have to admit, I'm a little confused here.
Okay, why is that?
Well, we live in an era of ubiquitous 5G. Why, in 2026, is an offline mode still considered a deal breaker?
That really comes down to infrastructure reality versus infrastructure theory.
Okay, unpack that.
Well, while urban centers in Thailand are highly connected, you have these massive concrete shopping malls that create notorious signal dead zones.
Oh, right. The physical building blocks the signal.
Exactly. And on top of that, local Wi-Fi routers at franchise locations just freeze up sometimes. A loyalty platform's physical terminal cannot paralyze a store's operations just because the local network dropped for 3 minutes.
Ah, I see. So the terminal needs local caching. It basically buffers the transaction offline, lets the customer take their coffee, and then it silently syncs the data back to the central server the exact second the connection is restored.
That's exactly it. That local caching saves the frontline staff from operational nightmares. But when the system is online, the calculation of those points has to happen in absolute real time through API-first connections.
Meaning no delays.
Right. We aren't talking about overnight batch processing where some massive server updates everyone's accounts at 2 a.m.
Because if I earn points on a coffee purchase, I want to see those points appear on my Line app instantly, so I can immediately turn around and use them to pay for a pastry in that exact same visit.
Yeah, and that instant turnaround requires the POS system and the central loyalty server to shake hands and validate the transaction in literally milliseconds.
Which is wild when you think about the scale.
And it gets wildly complex when you zoom out to a multi-branch franchise architecture. I mean, imagine a massive coffee chain with a cluster of branches in Bangkok, tourist-heavy locations in Phuket, and then local neighborhood spots in Chiang Mai.
Okay, yeah. Tracking members, redemptions, and churn per location. That requires some serious data sharding.
Exactly.
It's not enough to just know you have 1 million members nationally. You need to be able to run a hyper-targeted promotion in one specific branch in Phuket, say a rainy season special,
Right.
while keeping that specific member's identity and point balance perfectly synchronized across the whole national network.
Because franchise owners need access to regional analytics without seeing the entire national database. If the Bangkok branches are seeing high loyalty redemption, but Chiang Mai is seeing churn, the franchisee in Chiang Mai needs that local data segmented out. Secure.
Rather than it just being lumped into some useless national average. But wow, tracking millions of customers across dozens of branches, logging what they buy when they buy it, and then tying all of that directly back to their personal line profile. That generates a terrifying amount of data.
It's massive.
And in Thailand right now, mishandling that data isn't just a PR nightmare. It is a multi-million baht liability. So welcome to the privacy minefield.
Yeah, the legislative landscape has fundamentally changed the technical requirements of these platforms. Thailand's Personal Data Protection Act, the PDPA, went into full effect back on June 1st, 2022.
Right.
And by August 2025, authorities were handing down administrative fines exceeding 21.5 million baht.
That is no joke.
No, the grace period is long over. Enforcement is just a daily reality now.
So the technical requirements for compliance must be brutal. You can no longer just have a pre-checked box hidden at the bottom of a terms of service page.
Not at all. The platform must provide explicit and granular consent, and it has to maintain unalterable, auditable records of exactly when and how that consent was given.
Granularity really seems to be the key word there. Like, a user must be able to consent to you tracking their coffee purchases for points, while explicitly denying you the right to send them marketing texts.
Exactly. And the platform has to honor that without breaking the core loyalty loop.
Right, if I opt out of marketing, the system can't just glitch out and delete all my accrued points.
No, it has to be seamless. Furthermore, the automated data deletion mechanics are incredibly complex. If a user exercises their right to be forgotten, how does the system actually execute that?
Yeah, how does it do that? Because it's all tied to past revenue.
Right. It requires deep architectural untangling. The system has to locate that specific person's profile across an encrypted multi-branch server database.
Okay.
It then has to completely nullify their personally identifiable information, so their name, phone number, line ID. However, it must anonymize their past transactions rather than deleting the rows of data entirely.
Because if it deleted the transactions, the franchise owner's historical revenue and inventory analytics would suddenly just break.
Exactly. The platform must ensure the individual can no longer be identified while keeping the macro-numerical data totally intact.
That is fascinating. And since we're already operating in a post-third-party cookie world where, buying data from external brokers is basically dead, that shifts a massive burden onto the loyalty platform itself to act as the primary CRM.
Yeah, maintaining a single customer profile that seamlessly merges a customer's online behavior online with their offline behavior at the physical POS. That's the new gold standard for first-party data.
Because brands use that first-party data to segment users by spend volume, visit frequency, category preferences, all of that.
Right, but the ultimate stress test for this entire data architecture is actually in the health, beauty, and dental clinic sector.
Now, this is an interesting use case. Why can't a dental clinic just use the exact same loyalty platform template as the coffee chain? All right, points are points, right? You get a tooth pulled, you get 500 points. The transaction logic seems identical.
The transaction logic might look similar, sure, but the legal classification is monumental.
Oh, because of the health data.
Exactly. Under Article 26 of the Thai PDPA, health data is classified as highly sensitive personal data. So a loyalty platform engineered for retail will legally fail in a clinical setting without severe modifications.
So let's explain how that modification works mechanically. Our sources say the platform requires role-based access control, or RBAC.
Right, RBAC.
I like to think of RBAC like a modern hotel keycard system.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. So the housekeeper's keycard can open the door to clean the room. Or in our case, the front desk receptionist can access the loyalty system to issue points for a visit. But that same housekeeper's keycard will not open the room safe where your valuables are.
Right.
And the software, that means the receptionist cannot see the patient's medical history, treatment notes, or specific diagnoses, just the points.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. It builds the strict cryptographic wall between the loyalty function and the health function. And this operates under the strict legal principle of data minimization.
Meaning what exactly?
The system is engineered to collect and expose only the absolute minimum amount of data required to run the points system. Nothing more.
And clinics also need overlapping, highly specific opt-ins too, right?
Right.
Like a patient might consent to receiving clinical appointment reminders via line, but expressly deny consent for promotional marketing texts about, say, a new cosmetic procedure.
Exactly. The platform has to juggle those overlapping permissions flawlessly. But, navigating that privacy minefield is really just the baseline.
Just table stakes at this point.
Yeah. Let's assume you find a platform. It works natively online. It uses local caching for seamless POS integration. And it utilizes RBAC to satisfy the PDPA regulators.
Sounds like a winner.
Right, but the next massive hurdle is survival. Will this architecture actually survive a massive flash sale? Because the Thai loyalty market is growing at nearly 20% a year. A slow Tuesday just isn't the benchmark anymore.
You really have to look under the hood at the cloud providers. Where are the data centers physically located?
Huge detail.
Yeah, hosting locally in Thailand helps significantly with those PDPA cross-border data transfer rules. Plus, you need to demand a service level agreement guaranteeing an uptime of over 99.9%, backed by proven peak load test results.
And a critical component of surviving those load tests involves managing API rate limits.
Okay, think of an API rate limit like a bouncer at a nightclub. If 1 million people try to rush the door all at once during, say, a payday flash sale campaign online, the bouncer panics and shuts the door completely.
Right, nobody gets in.
In software terms, the system hits a throttle limit, crashing your line integration or freezing the physical POS systems in every store nationwide.
Which is a disaster.
So your platform needs a message queuing system, basically a way for the bouncer to organize that traffic into a fast, orderly line so the servers can process the request gracefully without melting down.
Because without that queuing mechanism, your marketing team's greatest success instantly becomes your IT team's greatest operational disaster.
And no one wants that meeting.
No. And alongside scalability, you also have to consider the reality of language and support. Obviously, the customer-facing user interface needs to be in Thai, but the back end matters just as much.
Yeah, if the employee dashboards, the frontline training documents, and the onboarding materials are just poor machine translations from English, the staff won't understand how to use the tool.
And the customer experience will suffer immediately. The support infrastructure really has to align with local realities.
Right.
I mean, the support team needs to operate on Thai time, GMT+7. If a POS integration breaks at 2 p.m. on a Saturday during peak foot traffic in Bangkok, waiting for a support desk in San Francisco to wake up on Monday morning is just unacceptable.
You absolutely need a local implementation team.
You do.
Which brings us to the final and perhaps most painful reality. Total cost of ownership.
The hidden cost.
The trap of hidden costs.
Yeah.
I like to think of enterprise software pricing like buying a ticket on a budget airline.
Oh, this is the word.
You see this incredibly cheap base fare and you think, wow, I've found an amazing deal. But at checkout, you get charged extra for a carry-on bag, extra for a seat assignment, extra for a bottle of water. And suddenly, you're paying more than you would have on a premium airline.
And in the loyalty platform world, those extra bag fees can literally bankrupt an entire marketing campaign. You have to scrutinize the contract for hidden fees before signing anything.
Like what?
For instance, line API message fees. Many platforms offer a cheap base rate, but what happens when you exceed your broadcast quota during a major campaign? The overage fees can be astronomical.
Wow. What about POS integration setup fees? Are you paying a one-time setup charge, or is the vendor quietly charging you a recurring monthly fee for every single register just to keep that API connection open?
Yeah, you have to check that. Then there are consulting fees for PDPA compliance. Some platforms charge hefty hourly rates just to configure the privacy settings that are legally required to operate in the country anyway.
Paying extra to configure legally required privacy settings feels like buying a car and being told the seatbelts cost extra.
That's an aggressive pricing model, sure, but it is very common. You also have to forecast data storage scaling costs. I mean, as your member base grows and those daily check-ins accumulate massive amounts of data, how much does the database hosting inflate?
That adds up fast.
It does.
Yeah.
And finally, customization charges. If the generic global platform requires heavy modification just to support native line features like LIF and rich menus, you are the one paying for hundreds of hours of custom development.
Which is why the research highlights that dodging this minefield really requires platforms built for the local environment from inception. Like solutions like our Greenfish's Loyalty Hub solutions are cited specifically in the sources because they start with native line OA integration as their core architecture, rather than treating it like an add-on.
Exactly.
They have built-in PDPA compliance ready for retail, F&B, and even those highly regulated clinics with the RBAC requirements.
And it perfectly illustrates the core philosophy of enterprise deployment here. The technology must adapt to the market's culture and infrastructure, not the other way around.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? The core lesson here is that building customer loyalty in Thailand is practically impossible if you just parachute in and apply a generic, Western-centric tech template.
It just won't work.
You have to meet the consumer exactly where they already are, which is seamlessly inside the Line app. You have to protect their data ruthlessly, according to the granular demands of the PDPA. And your architecture has to integrate flawlessly into the local physical infrastructure, surviving spotty mall Wi-Fi, and managing complex franchise reporting without breaking a sweat.
And there is a broader implication here, a sort of provocative thought to leave you with.
Let's hear it.
Think about the fundamental purpose of a loyalty platform. Its main job is to show the customer that you know them, you understand them, and you value them, right? But if that's true, doesn't the software platform itself have to prove that it knows, understands, and values the specific culture it operates in? Looking forward, as data privacy laws tighten in North America and Europe, and as consumers globally suffer from severe app fatigue, might the hyper-localized, highly secure, chat-integrated models developing in markets like Thailand actually become the blueprint for the rest of the world?
Wow. The regional adapter might just become the new global standard plug.
It's very possible.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. The next time you are standing in line for a coffee or waiting at the dentist, pull out your phone. Look closely at the loyalty programs you are interacting with. See if you can spot the gamification mechanics, the privacy walls, and the seamless integrations we unpacked today. Until next time, keep learning and keep looking beneath the surface.